When we got to the airport, Daisy started handing out the tickets. I'd finally saved up enough vacation days for a spontaneous trip. Daisy had volunteered to buy the plane tickets, leaving me to handle the itinerary and hotels. I happily agreed. After a flurry of planning, we were standing in the airport terminal when I realized something was missing. "Daisy, where's my ticket?" I asked, confused. She was still holding one ticket, but the name on it was Evan, her one that got away, the guy she'd always obsessed over, who was now back in her life after a breakup. Daisy froze, a flicker of embarrassment on her face. I think I forgot." Just then, Evan walked over, pulling his luggage. "Daisy, are we ready to go?" he asked. Dressed in trendy streetwear, he looked effortlessly cool, and Daisy's cheeks immediately flushed. I was annoyed. "Daisy, what is this?" She finally snapped back to reality. "Oh, Evan just went through a breakup and was feeling down, so I thought I'd bring him along. I was in such a rush that I forgot about your ticket." I almost laughed in her face. She didn't forget her first love's ticket, but she forgot mine? "Daisy, I was about to lose it when my mother-in-law cut me off." All right, so she forgot. "It's not a big deal," she said impatiently. "Just buy another one yourself. Hurry up, we have to board." Her tone left no room for argument. My father-in-law stood by silently, just pushing his luggage forward. Daisy hesitated for a few seconds, then grabbed Evan and followed them, calling back over her shoulder, "I'll wait for you over there. Hurry up, we're running late." She didn't even look back as she walked away. I let out a cold laugh. So, they weren't even trying to hide it anymore? I quickly went online and canceled all the hotel rooms I had booked for them, keeping only my own. Then, I found a cheap hotel in a super remote suburb, booked 2 rooms, and sent the location to Daisy. "Don't say I didn't help you out. You can have fun with $100,000, but you can have fun with 1,000 too," I muttered to myself as I sent the message. I bought a first-class ticket for the next flight, deciding I was going to enjoy this 20-plus hour journey. While waiting to board, I heard my mother-in-law's loud voice. "What do you mean it's overweight? It's just a stupid suitcase. Why does it cost so much?" "We don't want it," she huffed. From a distance, I saw her arguing arrogantly with the airline staff. She angrily opened a white suitcase, and when she saw it was full of winter coats, she blew a gasket. "Forget it," she yelled. Daisy tried to stop her, but her mom shot back. "It's not like they don't sell clothes there. It's not the Arctic. We won't need them." The others agreed, so they took all the winter coats out of their luggage and had them shipped back home. I smiled. In November, some parts of Scandinavia are practically the Arctic. I'd carefully considered the weather when planning the trip, which is why I packed so many coats. If they didn't appreciate it, they could deal with the consequences. I turned away and stopped paying attention to them, just watching as they boarded their plane. Soon it was my turn to board. I had been pinching pennies before, but now, without Daisy and her family, I wasn't going to hold back. Over 20 hours later, I stepped off the plane feeling refreshed and immediately spotted the person who was there to pick me up. At the same time, I saw Daisy and her crew. After a day and night of flying, my in-laws, Daisy, and Evan looked completely ragged. The language barrier was probably a minor issue. The bigger problem was the biting wind that hit them the second they stepped outside, draining all the color from their faces. They quickly retreated back into the terminal and looked around, only to find there were no duty-free shops where they could buy winter clothes. Clearly, my mother-in-law hadn't thought of that, and I hadn't told her. Not every airport has duty-free shopping. Besides, the coats they needed were already on their way back home. Daisy couldn't help but complain. "Mom, this is all your fault. You said it wouldn't be cold here. You're the one who took out all the clothes." My mother-in-law, used to being in charge, instinctively retorted, "And you wouldn't have stopped me? You all agreed. Now you regret it when there's a problem. What are you looking at me for? I didn't know it would be this cold either," she continued. Daisy got even angrier. "So what do we do now?" My father-in-law spoke up. "We still have Jacob, right? Just have him bring them. We can wait here." I had changed clothes and was wearing a hat, mask, and sunglasses. Daisy didn't even recognize me. "They want me to bring them clothes? They can wait. Without a second thought, I left with my driver. The funny thing is, the whole reason I came to Scandinavia was to see the amazing scenery and go skiing. In this freezing weather, what else would you wear besides a down jacket? After arriving at the hotel, I was thrilled to find a ski resort right nearby. After settling in, I couldn't wait to hit the slopes. Geared up, I smoothly skied down the mountain, surrounded by fellow enthusiasts. We all lost ourselves in the fun, and before I knew it, 3 hours had flown by. Wow, spending money on myself felt amazing. I took a deep breath of the crisp air, exhaled all my frustrations, and felt better than ever. When I got back to my room, I saw I had over 100 missed calls and a ton of texts on my phone. I had to laugh. Daisy must have been freaking out. I thought about it for a second and called her back. Her anxious, angry voice came through the line. "Jacob, where the hell did you go? I called you a million times and you didn't answer." I played it cool. "Oh, I was on the plane. Just landed. What's up? When are you going to get here? I'm freezing to death," she said frantically. I feigned surprise. "How's that possible? I packed a ton of warm clothes for you guys before we left." She stammered, unable to come up with a response. I cut her off. "I'm on a layover right now, the signal's bad. Gotta go." With that, I hung up. A moment later, Daisy texted, "Hurry up and buy me some warm clothes. This place is in the middle of nowhere." I quickly replied, "You had money to buy him a ticket but not to buy yourself some clothes? You can take a cab to the hotel." Then I turned off my phone. I didn't really care what happened to Daisy next. After all, the place I booked for her was so far away, it wouldn't be easy for her to find me. As I was scrolling through my phone, I happened to see Evan's social media post. He had posted a selfie so heavily filtered you could barely recognize him, with the caption, "Feeling down, so I took a trip to Scandinavia with a friend." The post was flooded with likes and comments. Someone asked, "Which friend?" "Lucky friend. Getting to travel with such a handsome guy." Evan replied with a smiley face. I had to laugh. Who else but Daisy, the ultimate sucker, would pay for his trip to Scandinavia at a time like this? Sure enough, many people guessed it was Daisy. They left comments like, "Is Daisy's husband there too?" "Evan, don't be the other man." I didn't have to do a thing. Justice warriors were already speaking up for me. When I refreshed the page, I saw that Evan had deleted the post. But he did quietly send me a message. "Jacob, don't mind me. I just needed to get away. By the way, when are you getting here? Daisy's freezing. Don't you feel bad for your own wife?" See, he was trying to get under my skin. Plenty of people around Daisy felt bad for her. What was there for me to worry about? I thought for a moment, then went to take a bath. 2 hours later, I finally replied, "Daisy's an adult. She can take care of herself. You, on the other hand, with your delicate constitution, should be careful not to get sick out here." He was probably so pissed he didn't reply. Seriously, who can't play the passive-aggressive game? Evan's face looked weirder every year. God knows how much work he's had done. All his money went into his looks, so he probably didn't bring much on this trip. I was curious to see just how much love Daisy was going to give him. In this kind of extreme weather, you can't get by without money. A little while later, Daisy called me again. "Jacob, what kind of crappy hotel did you book for me? This place is in the middle of nowhere. It's just forest outside, and it's pitch black at night. Are you trying to scare someone to death?" I was lying on a huge, warm bed in my hotel room. I raised an eyebrow. "How is that my fault? You gave me a tiny budget, so of course I had to be frugal." When Daisy heard that, her anger deflated, and her tone softened. "Honey, you know my salary isn't very high. Please, just help us out and find us a different place." I scoffed. "Daisy, you had money to book a ticket for Evan, but not for me. And now you have the nerve to ask me to book a hotel for you? Where's your shame?" With that, I switched the TV to the news channel. The sound made Daisy explode. "You're in a hotel." "Yeah, so?" I answered calmly. "Which hotel are you in?" "I'm coming to find you right now," she said urgently. I couldn't be bothered with her. I hung up and put my phone on airplane mode. Before I left, I had already told my parents that no matter what lies Daisy and her family told them about me being in trouble, they were not to give them a single penny or any help. This time, I was determined to put her back in her place. Originally, I thought that when faced with this situation, Daisy would either follow the travel guide I had carefully prepared and enjoy the trip, or she would have the sense to just go home. Their endurance was beyond what I had imagined. Evan posted on social media, "With the one I love, even the coldest weather feels like spring." The picture showed him and Daisy sharing a blanket, smiling at each other. The romantic vibe was practically oozing from the screen. He made sure I could see this post. I quickly took a screenshot. Thanks for the evidence, I guess. At the same time, I posted something too. Having a hot pot feast with a bunch of old-timers in Chinatown. So cool it hurts. The steaming hot pot and our big smiles were definitely a jab at Evan and sure to infuriate Daisy. She started spamming me with messages, and I just replied with a location pin. "If you want to come find me." Did she think I was going to pick her up? Not a chance. 2 hours later, Chinatown was bustling. My guide, Mike, told me there was a lion dance performance organized by the local Chinese association. There was also a jade cabbage sculpture, taller than a person, that a local Chinese supermarket had put out front for its grand opening. Of course, I had to stick around for the fun. I handed my phone to Mike and asked him to take a video for me as a souvenir. I was standing next to the jade cabbage sculpture, just striking a pose, when I heard Daisy's furious yell, "Jacob, I knew I'd find you here." Then my in-laws showed up. The second my mother-in-law saw me, she lunged forward to slap me. I dodged. "Jacob, look what you've done. We're starving and freezing while you're here living it up. How did our family end up with a son-in-law like you?" After dodging her, I pointed at the jade cabbage next to me. "Don't touch me. If you break this, you can't afford it. And we're in another country. Don't embarrass yourself here." When my mother-in-law heard me challenge her authority, she got even angrier. "Don't you try to scare me. It's just a piece of rock. I can't afford it? Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson. You ungrateful son-in-law." She rushed at me again, and Daisy grabbed onto me tightly. Seeing her rage, a chill went down my spine. I don't know where the strength came from, but I gave her a hard shove right in the chest. Then I dodged my mother-in-law's attack, but she couldn't stop her momentum and went flying forward. The sound of gongs and drums filled the air, but even that couldn't drown out my mother-in-law's scream. There was a loud crash. Everyone's eyes turned to us. The supermarket owner's face turned pale. My mother-in-law, still clueless, got up and tried to grab me again. Before she could touch me, several people quickly restrained her and pinned her to the ground. "Let me go. Do you know who I am?" I looked at her coldly. "They don't know who you are, but right now you're their biggest debtor." My mother-in-law froze. "What debtor?" Without another word, I called the police. After all, this whole thing started because of me, and it was the supermarket's grand opening day. I didn't know if the jade cabbage sculpture was real or fake, but it must have cost a fortune to ship it overseas. Now my mother-in-law had knocked it over, shattering the display case along with it. The owner called the leaders of the local Chinese association, and they immediately surrounded my mother-in-law and her family. When Daisy saw me call the police, she started to panic. "Jacob, what are you doing?" My mom was just upset. "Do you have any idea how far away the hotel you booked for us is? We were freezing." I looked at Daisy's panicked face and couldn't help but sneer. "So, I booked your hotel and made you an itinerary, and you bought another man a plane ticket and tried to leave me at the airport. And now you have the nerve to come and hit me? I packed down jackets and winter coats for you, and you refused to wear them. Now you're blaming me? Your whole family spends my money, treats me like dirt, and now you dare to hit me? Daisy, who the hell do you think you are?" As soon as I said that, a crowd of older people gathered around, looking confused. "Young man, what's going on? Is this your wife?" An old man asked first. "What's the use of a woman like that? And your mother-in-law is completely out of line." An old woman said angrily, stepping in front of me to protect me, glaring at my mother-in-law and Daisy. This young man was very polite to us. He's not the type to cause trouble for no reason. Your family abandoned him at the airport, and now you have the nerve to blame him? The woman said reproachfully. Exactly. You came out to have fun but left him behind. How could you? Another old man added. You're old enough to know better. How could you just start hitting people in a foreign country? It's disgraceful. Another woman chimed in. They're a family of vampires. Someone else muttered, bringing their shame all the way overseas. The crowd was buzzing with comments. My mother-in-law was furious. Faced with the crowd's accusations, her inner Karen came out. She put her hands on her hips and yelled at everyone. What's it to you? I'm disciplining my son-in-law. He's part of my family. I can hit him whenever I want. I don't need to pick a day. She shouted arrogantly. The money he earns belongs to our family. His money is my daughter's money, and my daughter can spend it on whoever she wants. She reasoned. What's wrong with other men? It just shows my daughter is desirable. She grew even more defiant. Her words instantly enraged the crowd, and everyone started arguing with her. The supermarket owner threatened, if you don't pay up, you'll be leaving a leg behind. Faced with everyone's criticism, my mother-in-law's bravado quickly faded. When the police arrived, they asked for details about what happened and then gave a series of instructions to Daisy and her mother. My mother-in-law, unable to speak the language, just kept repeating, I didn't do it on purpose. It's just a stupid rock. How much can it be worth? The police, seeing her wild gestures, tried to calm her down. Unbelievably, she tried to fight the police officer, who promptly threw her over his shoulder and pinned her to the ground. A cheer went up from the crowd. The foreign officer holding her down heard it and pressed harder, until her face was flat against the pavement. Only then did Daisy look scared and try to communicate with the police in broken English. But the police weren't having it and took them all away. My father-in-law, seeing this, turned white as a sheet. Jacob, your mother didn't mean it. You have to go with them and explain. My father-in-law pleaded. You embarrass yourselves overseas and expect me to compromise? Fine. But you have to sign the divorce papers first. Then I'll help, I said coldly. But I have no idea if the owner will forgive you. I finally understood that this wasn't the first time something had happened between Daisy and Evan. I remembered right after we got married. Evan had slept in our marital bed for a night. I was furious at the time and made a huge scene. But Daisy just said nonchalantly, what's the big deal? Evan's not married, it's good luck. I shot back, who uses a grown man for that? Isn't it supposed to be a kid? I had already found a kid for the tradition, but she let Evan sleep in our bed instead. Creeped me out so much that I threw out the entire bedding set that day. Daisy was mad about it. There were many other incidents like this, and eventually I just got tired of fighting with her. I just wanted to end the marriage. I never thought this honeymoon would give me the excuse I needed. Hearing what I said, Daisy gritted her teeth. Jacob, don't push it. Aren't you afraid of karma for doing this? I shot back, what about you? When you were in bed with Evan, did you think about karma? The night they arrived at their hotel, Evan had sent me photos and videos of him and Daisy together. I was video chatting with friends back home at the time. When I got his photos, even though I had expected it and was completely disappointed, it still stung. Jacob, Daisy says I'll always be the one that got away, Evan had said smugly in the video. I just scoffed at the time, saved the evidence, and said nothing. Now, hearing Daisy say this, her face turned pale. After getting the video from my guide, Mike, I went to the police station with them. Mike had been a great help to me on this trip. Since I was involved, he stepped up to help mediate. The Chinese Association also got involved, and in the end, my mother-in-law had to pay $100,000 in compensation. I also forced Daisy to sign the divorce papers before I agreed to bail her out. Once everything was settled, I didn't hesitate to get on a plane back home. As soon as I got back, I immediately packed up my things, boxed up their belongings, and left them by the door. Then, I listed the house with a real estate agent. This house was my premarital property, and now I could finally be free of this marriage. Shortly after we got married, Daisy and my in-laws moved into my house. At first, I tried to keep the peace and put up with it, but their behavior just got worse and worse. I took decisive action. I packed up all their luggage and had building management hold it, mailing only their important documents back to my in-laws' old house. Then I changed the locks. I gave the new key to the real estate agent and told him to show the house whenever he needed to. I moved in with a friend for the time being. A few days later, Daisy returned with her exhausted-looking mother. When they couldn't get in, she called me furiously. "Jacob, what's the meaning of this? Why did you change the locks?" I replied calmly, "Since we've decided to divorce, you no longer have the right to live here. I'm selling the house, so you should go back to your parents' place. By the way, you can pick up your luggage from building management. I already mailed your documents back." "Jacob," she screamed, but I had already hung up and sent her the video of her cheating. Instantly, Daisy's anger was extinguished. I wondered where Evan was, but she didn't mention him, and I couldn't be bothered to ask. I figured the divorce would be finalized in a month. Just then, I unexpectedly went viral. My friend called me in a panic. "Jacob, you have to see this. You're famous." He sent me a link. I clicked on it and was floored. Gaslighting husband plays victim after living off wife. In the article, I was painted as a heartless, irresponsible husband. They even zoomed in on my facial features, making it seem like anyone could recognize me. I read through it and saw that I was portrayed as a domineering, unreasonable man who not only disrespected his mother-in-law but also gaslit his wife and controlled her interactions with other men. The trip abroad was described as something I had insisted on, only to abandon them as soon as we arrived and go off to have fun on my own. I had to laugh. My friend asked cautiously, "Jacob, I know you're not like that. It's all over the internet now, including what happened when you guys were fighting overseas. Be careful." I work in an international trade company and have many clients on social media. Hearing this, I immediately understood how serious this was. This was clearly a targeted attack, making our private family issues public and claiming I had embarrassed myself internationally. I asked my friend to trace the IP address of the person who posted it. At the same time, I announced my divorce on my social media and bluntly stated that Daisy had cheated. This announcement immediately sparked a debate among my friends. I deleted everyone who defended Daisy, cleaning out my friends list. Fortunately, many friends understood and supported me. Some even offered to help me find a lawyer. I thanked them all and immediately reported it to the police. I wanted them to know I wasn't alone. Just then, Daisy contacted me. It turned out the police had tracked the poster's IP address to Evan. After being taken in by the police, he had asked Daisy to come and settle things with me. I demanded $100,000 in compensation and for him to publicly admit his affair with Daisy in a post. This time, Evan completely panicked. Daisy looked at me, her face pale. "Jacob, you're already in this situation. Why do you have to be so aggressive? He didn't mean to do it. He just wanted to stand up for me." I sneered. "Daisy, are you an idiot? What he did is illegal, and I will not let go of the damage and losses he caused me. He can either go to jail or pay compensation and make a public apology. Otherwise, I'm taking this to an international level. You don't want me to expose what your mother did to me overseas, do you?" Daisy looked at me, her fists clenched. Just then, her mother rushed over. "Jacob, you have no conscience." "Daisy, tell Evan we're not settling." I shrugged. "Whatever." I turned to leave, and Daisy panicked. "Wait." I turned back to look at her. She seemed to have made up her mind, gritting her teeth and saying, "Fine, I'll pay. As for the apology, I'll convince him." Her mother looked confused. "Daisy, are you crazy? Where are you going to get that kind of money?" Daisy stared at me, and I curled my lip into a cold smile. Thinking back, since she cheated first, we signed a divorce agreement where I only gave her $100,000 as compensation. Now, I was demanding $100,000 from her, which meant she was leaving me with practically nothing. "No problem, but make sure Evan apologizes publicly," I said calmly. My mother-in-law was grinding her teeth, about to explode, but I just gently raised a finger and waved it in front of her face. "If you dare say one bad word to me, I'll spill all your dirty laundry from overseas." Though she was furious, my mother-in-law had no choice but to stay silent. That day, Daisy transferred the money to me, and under public pressure, Evan was forced to apologize to me publicly. Netizens were outraged and tore Evan to shreds. So he's the other man. No wonder he tried so hard to slander the husband. I heard the husband was decisive and got the divorce papers signed while they were still overseas. This guy is amazing. I admire his ability to cut ties so cleanly. I wish I had his courage. Watching Evan cry and apologize on camera, I felt a sense of satisfaction. A month later, Daisy and I officially finalized our divorce. She immediately went and got a marriage certificate with Evan. Evan sent me a message. "Jacob, I told you you'll never be better than me." I quickly replied, "You're right. My trash is a perfect match for you. You two should lock it down for life and never come and disgust me again." After they got married, my ex-mother-in-law even posted about it on TikTok. Congratulations to my daughter for finally getting rid of that overbearing husband. Welcome, Evan, to our family. True love wins, and our family will be even happier now. When I saw it, I silently gave it a like. Many commenters were insulting her, but she just kept sharing her family's life as if nothing was wrong. I had to admire her mental fortitude. It was impressive. 2 days later, she posted another video. "My son-in-law is so thoughtful. He's taking us on a trip to Hong Kong and Macau. Flights included. See? This is the difference." I watched as my ex-mother-in-law sat happily on the plane, filming the scenery outside, with Evan and Daisy beside her. The four of them were finally on a domestic trip. But sharp-eyed netizens quickly noticed something was off. "Ma'am, that looks like a budget tour. Hong Kong and Macau for $199? That's a shopping tour. Once you get there, if you don't buy anything, you won't even have a place to sit." My mom went on that tour once. She spent $6,000 on a piece of jade. I was so mad. "Ma'am, your new son-in-law is so thoughtful. Just wait until you're crying." Daisy quickly responded in the comments, "You're just jealous. Evan is very filial. Stop trying to cause trouble." Couldn't help but find it funny. A $199 tour. After paying for transportation and accommodation, what's left? Daisy used to tell me that these tours were scams and couldn't be trusted. Now she was a firm believer. Well, I wished them a pleasant journey. I didn't care where they went after that. Because of my divorce from Daisy, many of our mutual clients chose to side with me. Daisy was in the same industry as me, but her sales were never as good as mine. If it weren't for my referrals these past 2 years, she would have been out of a job. And now, at this critical time, she was off traveling with Evan. Since that was the case, I wasn't going to be polite. I took back all the client resources I had given her. Even my boss said that I was unlucky in love but lucky in my career. I just smiled. For me, right now, nothing made me happier than making money. What's more, I was making money that used to be my ex's. I wasn't going to be nice about it. After a busy period at work, I finally opened TikTok again and saw that my ex-mother-in-law had posted a video. "Jacob, look, isn't this Daisy?" In a dark corner, a woman was surrounded by several large men. The man next to her had messy hair and a terrified look on his face. The woman's voice was low but defiant. "What do you want?" I recognized her. It was Daisy. "If you don't buy anything, you have to pay the price. You knew this was a shopping tour, and you still encouraged everyone not to buy my stuff. There's one thing if you don't buy, but you had to meddle. Now no one's buying and you're going to pay for it." A big man yelled. Daisy stuck her neck out, defiant. "On what grounds?" Before she could finish, she was hit with a hard slap and fell silent. "On the grounds that I say so," the man shouted arrogantly. The slap made half of Daisy's face swell up. She didn't dare say another word, her face red with anger. Evan pleaded from the side. "She didn't mean it. We'll buy. If we pay, can we go?" The man sneered. "Look at this pretty boy. He knows what's up. If you're smart, you'll pay up now." The video ended with Daisy being dragged away and Evan's screams in the background. I didn't know what happened next, but the fact that the video was leaked meant they had gotten out safely. "It's Daisy. Where did you get this video?" I asked curiously. My friend said gleefully, "A friend of mine in the travel industry sent it to me. It's all over their group chats. Did you know?" The tour guide and Evan were working together. For every old person Evan referred, he got a 60 cut. Think about it, how much does a budget tour even cost? He took a 60 cut and then threw his own in-laws into the fire while he and his girlfriend counted the money. But he didn't expect that idiot Daisy to convince her parents not to buy anything. And you know her mom's mouth. She got beaten up pretty badly. Hearing this, it all made sense. I never thought Evan would stoop so low. One of them took a cut, and the other convinced people not to spend money. They ended up not spending a dime on the trip and even made a profit. Of course, the tour company wasn't going to let them get away with it. The next time I saw Daisy was at the hospital. My company had arranged for physicals, and I saw her while I was in line. She was in a wheelchair, her face covered in bruises, and her arm was in a sling. It was clearly broken. When she saw me, Daisy's lips trembled, and she quickly had her caregiver wheel her over. When she saw me, Daisy's eyes welled up with tears. "Jacob," she called out softly. I nodded. "Yeah. Do you need something? Did you come here just to see me?" "At a time like this, you're the only one who would," she said, full of hope. I couldn't help but laugh. "Misunderstanding. I'm here for a company physical. How you're doing now doesn't really have anything to do with me." Daisy's face fell, but she quickly tried to recover. "I know you're just saying that because you're jealous of Evan. I'll break up with him if you just say the word." I quickly cut her off. "Enough. I don't care about him. It was your choice. He was your one that got away. And even if he's lost his shine, you have to deal with it yourself. Stop hurting innocent people." My words hit her like a ton of bricks. She froze, her face turning bright red. "I'm sorry, I know I wronged you, but I really regret it. Can we start over? I promise. I'll never betray you again." Her voice was desperate, but then she immediately shifted all the blame to Evan. Actually, there was nothing between us. It was Evan who seduced me from the beginning. Hearing this made me sick. She was blaming Evan for everything wrong in her marriage. I wondered what Evan would think if he knew. I couldn't be bothered with her anymore and just gave her a cold look. Seeing this, Daisy seemed to find a glimmer of hope. "Are you willing to forgive me? We were married, after all. I know you won't just watch me suffer. Jacob, let's get back together. We can work together and win back all those clients." She tried to grab my hand, her eyes shining with anticipation. "You have no idea, my sales have plummeted. Everyone at the company says I was blind. I admit it. Can we start over?" I pulled my hand away sharply, took out a tissue, and wiped my fingers one by one. Then I threw the tissue in her face. "Look at yourself now. No ambition at work, no savings, still living in that rundown old house. What do you have to offer?" I glared at her. "I'd have to be insane to choose a woman who betrayed me. Trash belongs in the trash can. You and him are a perfect match. Lock it down and don't come back to ruin anyone else's life." With that, I walked into the exam room, shutting the door on her. When I came out, Daisy was gone. I heard she had left looking dejected. I had just finished my checkup and was about to leave when I heard someone shout, "Someone's going to jump." I looked up and saw two people struggling on the roof. It was Daisy and Evan. Police and paramedics arrived quickly and started clearing the crowd. I left the chaotic scene without a second glance. That night, I saw Daisy on the news. She was screaming, trying to push Evan off the roof. Luckily, there was an airbag below. Evan survived, but he injured his spine and was paralyzed for life. Then, a netizen revealed that while they were abroad, Evan had slept with the female owner of a hotel because of the poor accommodation, and Daisy had gotten jealous and been beaten up by the owner. Thinking back to when I saw Daisy abroad, the bruises on her face, it all made sense. So, they had stayed together after returning. I guess that's true love. I didn't want to comment on it further, just decided to never have anything to do with her again. Since they were married, it should have been a criminal case, but Daisy's emotional state had become unstable. Her family applied for a psychiatric evaluation, and she was released on bail. When Evan woke up and found out he was paralyzed, he broke down and cried. Evan's parents still sued Daisy for a huge amount of compensation. But Daisy had no money. Her parents sold their old house, but the compensation wasn't nearly enough. The two families were at a standstill. Finally, Daisy proposed that they wouldn't divorce, and she would take Evan in and take care of him for the rest of his life. Evan's family, with no other choice, had to agree and left Evan at Daisy's place. I heard all of this from friends. 3 months later, I got a call from Evan. He cried and said to me, "Jacob, I'll give her back to you. Just give me 200,000. Okay?" I scoffed, filled with contempt. "That trash isn't worth a penny. I wouldn't take her if you paid me 200,000. You keep her. Don't do me any favors." With that, I hung up without hesitation. The next time I heard about them was on a short video platform. In the video, Evan was rail thin, lying in bed with sunken eyes, while Daisy was taking care of him, saying she would never leave him and would be devoted to her husband for life. A netizen noticed that Evan had developed bed sores and told Daisy to apply medicine. Daisy agreed verbally but didn't move. Evan didn't say anything. To be precise, he no longer had the strength to resist or even the courage to ask for help. We had no way of knowing what his life was like off camera. But just 6 months after being paralyzed, he had lost all hope. It seemed his one that got away wasn't so special after all. Netizens commented, but Daisy seemed completely unfazed. Everyone knew she was just using public sympathy, and her image as a cheating, dependent, mooching travel girlfriend was already solidified, causing a massive drop in her followers. I stared at the lifeless eyes of Evan in the video, and I could feel his deep despair and will to die. For him, this life was undoubtedly a form of torture, worse than death. This was all his own choice. He probably should have realized on the first day of the trip that chasing small gains often comes with a heavy price. After that, I shifted my company's strategic focus to the overseas market. My foreign language skills were pretty good, after all. The following year, I went on another business trip to Scandinavia and stayed at that same remote hotel. To my surprise, there was a natural hot spring hidden behind the hotel. The owner enthusiastically invited me to try it. With a look of indignation, he told me a few years ago some Asian tourists came here. They not only broke a precious statue my wife left me, but when they couldn't pay for the damages, they made unreasonable demands. I smiled back at him, secretly glad that those wrongdoers had gotten what they deserved. Soaking in the warm spring water, I looked up at the brilliant starry sky. The beauty of this foreign land brought me new inspiration. I knew the road ahead might be full of challenges, but the scenery along the way would surely be beautiful. As long as I kept moving forward and took the time to appreciate the view, I would surely have an extraordinary life.